So today has been exactly 1 week since we first filled up the big shallow with water, and we have a small problem with this tank. Yeah, so basically the main problem is the water clarity. As you can see, the water is not clear at all. It's very milky, it's very cloudy, and it's actually been like that since day 1. It's now day 7. I've done 2 large water changes already. I did one yesterday to kind of clean up the wood because we have a lot of fungus growing on the wood. Yeah, I mean the fungus on the wood, that's something I'm used to, and that will go away by itself, I hope at least. But cloudy water for 7 days straight, that's something I haven't experienced yet myself. So there's a few things I tried so far to help solve the issue. I've been dosing Cechem Stability every single day. These are just starter bacteria, and beneficial bacteria always help to clear the water. I've also twice tried Cechem Clarity. This is a water clarifier for marine and freshwater. First time using it. But I've tried it twice, 2 capfuls, didn't do anything unfortunately. Then usually this stuff works very well for me, ADA Clear Water. I also tried this twice, again didn't do anything. And lastly, I've also tried this stuff. This is Masterline Purity, and this is very similar to Cechem Purigen. So I filled the media bag with this, and I've added it to my Oase Biomaster 850. Again, didn't do anything. Oh, it did do something actually. It removed all the tannins from the water. If you remember the first video, when we first filled it up, we had a lot of tannins, and they're basically gone now. So that's because of the Masterline Purity. I'm about 99% sure that this cloudiness is caused by the wood. I've never used this wood before, so I knew that it was a bit of a risk using it. But I'm sure this is something that will solve itself out in the next couple of weeks. Once we have a decent amount of beneficial bacteria in here, and once we get rid of that slime on the wood, I'm sure it will be much better. Now, another thing that's really going to help clear up this water is of course the plants. I don't have the plants yet. I'm actually going to order them tonight, and then they will arrive within a few days. But you guys are going to see that in a few minutes anyway. There's a few things that I want to do before we get the plants. Yeah, so I would really love to have some plants and some mosses on these 2 pieces of wood right here. But as you can see, they're super dry, so we need to have some moisture here somehow. I'm thinking to make a bit of a water dripping system, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, so a few weeks ago I was binge watching some videos on the UNS YouTube channel. And the guys there, they were making a paludarium, and they also made this water dripping system from a UNS Delta filter. I have this filter right here, which has the same sort of outflow attachment as this Delta filter. So this filter outflow has this spray bar with these attachments on it. And to that we can attach some tubing, like so. And then this tubing we can basically direct anywhere we want some extra moisture. So this should be pretty easy, right? This filter has like 9 of those attachments, so we could use 9 pieces of silicone tubing if we wanted. I think if we would just have one sort of trickling down over there, maybe you can have another one somewhere trickling down here, maybe one here and another one sort of here inside this piece of wood. I think 4 is more than enough. So I was first thinking to basically cut this pipe in half, so we only have like 4 of those attachments left, but then there's no going back, and if you want more, then yeah, I have to buy a new one. So I'm just gonna plug these holes with a little, how do you call these sticks? Here we go, and if you want more of those attachments, we can always remove these sticks. So it'll be a little bit flexible, you know? Here we go, that works. So now we just need some silicone tubing. Yeah, so I can place the filter in this corner here, and then we can put a little piece of filter foam underneath it, just to make sure it's fish safe. And then we can direct these silicone tubes somewhere along the wood here. I think that should work. All right, I think we're getting somewhere here. So we now have 4 in total. So there's one over here going all the way down this side basically. Another one going down there, down that side. So we can have moss going here. And then I have one all the way on top here. And the last one is basically in this piece of wood right there, dripping down. So I'm just gonna play around with this a little bit more until I'm completely happy with it. And I'll show you guys the end result. Yeah, so you guys are gonna see this tank getting planted in like a few minutes from now. But the thing is, I still have to wait a few days for this big plant order to come in. And I want some green in here now. So I already added this plant here. This is the, yeah, I think it's a South American lily. I'm not going to pronounce the name, I'll put the name on the screen. Super cool, it has these really tiny lily pads. And I'm going to order a few more of that one as well. But I have some extra plants that I can use right now. So I just set up this mini guppy pond on my balcony like a week ago. And we have some really cool pond plants in here. And I actually saved a few that we can use in the big shallow. And see, if you didn't see the video from this build, I'll leave a link over there, or it's over there somewhere. So these things I want to add right now. So this stuff right here kind of looks like mini bamboo to me. I think that will look cool somewhere in the back, sort of coming out. I think it will grow a little bit taller as well. We've got this big one with this beautiful purple flowers. This one doesn't really look like much right now, but it should grow these like mini cigars. I'll put a picture on the screen if I can find it. We have some moss and we have some bucephalan that I might add as well. So let's see if I can do this big one first. I'm thinking to have it here. Instantly add some nice color to the whole setup. And I think this small one we can put in front here. So this is gonna grow like I saw in the pictures. It's gonna look super cute with those mini cigars. Okay, here we go. That's those 3 pond plants in. I'm not sure if it's gonna work. I mean, this is all very much an experiment for me. This one is not even in the substrate, but I thought it looked good there, so we'll see if it grows well. All right, first touch of green are in. I'll see you guys when the rest of the plants are here. And we're back. It's now been exactly 7 days since I filmed that last clip. And today's the day, guys. Today's the day we're finally going to finish the big shallow. And I can't wait to see the end result. So I'm just waiting for the plants to come in. They can be here any minute. Of course, coming directly from Denel Plants. They've been a channel sponsor for quite a while now. So yeah, I feel like the water has definitely cleared up a bit more since last week. It's still not 100% clear, but we're making progress. And today we're going to do another big water change, so it should be good. I've also made some nice progress with the drip system. This is the first time I kept it running overnight. I still have to get used to the noise. Yeah, you can hear it trickling down. So we have a tube going on here, we have a tube here, then there's a very long one all the way down. And this one I've basically punctured some holes, so kind of there's some water dripping out everywhere. And the last one is coming out here, going down all the way here. So you can definitely put some moss on that. I decided not to do anything over here. I think it's nice to also have some wood dry and exposed. But we can always still make changes later. So while we're waiting for the plants to arrive, I'm going to do one big water change now. And at the same time scrub all the wood, because there's still a lot of fungus on there. So we can get rid of that. And then it should look super fresh. While I'm cleaning the aquarium, I want to talk to you guys about something. Before I started making this hardscape, I basically just had an idea and some thoughts about the direction I want to go with this setup, but nothing really specific. And the idea that I had was to kind of move away from my usual style, which is very heavily planted tanks, and move more towards a natural style. I don't want to say biotope, because when you say biotope you immediately put limitations on yourself, but yeah, basically just a mix of biotope and aquascaping. And with that in mind, this hardscape was created. So when I first filled it up and those tannins were being released by the wood, I knew that I wanted to stick with that idea also for the planting and the fish choice. So basically going forward from here, this will be a South American / Amazon inspired natural style aquascape. And the plants coming in today are mostly from that region as well. Not all, because again, I don't want to limit myself. Alright, quick cleaning session done. Filling back up with super clear fresh water. So here you can see how clear the water is. And here you can see that cloudy old water basically. I'm going to start a filter in a second. I just want to show you guys the stuff that I use to drain and fill the tank basically. I know a lot of people are interested in that. So this is just an old inlet from an old filter, from the JBL filter actually. Then I have a very long garden hose, goes all the way down, all the way down, all the way down. And in the kitchen I have a super cheap Amazon return pump that's just filling the tank back up. I'll put a link to the pump in the video description. In the meantime, the plants have arrived as well, perfect timing. So I'm just going to wait for the tank to fill up all the way, then we can take a look at the plants. Alright, let's just see what we got in here, shall we? Straight away we got some beautiful ECHINODORUS. Again, this aquascape is going to be a little bit different from my usual style, so we have different types of plants as well. We got some Sagittaria, Ludwigia repens Rubin. I ordered a lot of Ludwigia. More Sagittaria. Okay, so I think I kind of underestimated the amount of plants that I need for this build. I don't think I've ordered enough, but it's okay. We can always buy some more. So what do we have? We have a couple of really nice ECHINODORUS. I have a few in vitro pots with HELANTHIUM that we can use for the aquatic section. I ordered this HYDROCOTYLE XXL for the transition from aquatic to immersed. Lots of portions of Taiwan moss, some floating plants, lots of Ludwigia, and lots of Sagittaria. So might not be enough, but we'll see. Let's just get started. Alright, I think we're ready. Plants are all prepared. And I take back what I said. I do think we have enough plants. Once you start opening those pots, there's actually a lot more than you think. Also in the back, there's really not that much space to put plants anyway. And in the aquatic section, I wanted to keep it very minimal as well. There's only going to be like 2 or 3 types of plants in the aquatic section. And it's also more fun to see the development, you know, like we can really stuff it with a lot more plants, of course. But then as soon as it starts growing, you have to trim it already. And then you don't see the development from freshly planted to fully grown in. Obviously, we're going to start with the ECHINODORUS. These are the stars of the show really here. I have 3 types. This is the biggest one, and I think somewhere behind here would look good. Then we have another one. This one is slightly smaller, but it's the same type. This is the ECHINODORUS OZELOT, I think it's called. Okay, so that's the first ECHINODORUS in, 3 pieces in total. They're still very small right now, of course, but they should grow up to 40-50 centimeters. So I think they will just raise just above this piece of wood. Next up we have this one. This is ECHINODORUS CORDIFOLIUS red, something like that. Should grow roughly the same size. So I think one on the left side, one on the right side. Yeah, should look good. Then I have one more type of ECHINODORUS, this one, super tiny. This is the CORDIFOLIUS mini. So this one should grow up to 25 centimeters, so not too big. So I'm thinking maybe a little bit more in front there. Also on this side we still have some empty space there. Yeah, should work. Okay, so that's all 3 types of ECHINODORUS in. Now in between there, still quite a lot of space. And I want to fill that up with this plant right here. This is the Ludwigia repens rubin. It's quite green now, but it should grow nice and red. And the idea that I have for this plant is to sort of act as almost like a floating plant. So I want it to grow upwards and then basically start laying on the water surface. So it's going to provide a nice color. It's going to provide a sort of a transition to the ECHINODORUS. I think it's going to look cool. Okay, next up we're going for this plant. This is HYDROCOTYLE something. I'll put the name on the screen, I forgot. Plant does not have to be in the substrate, so we can just place it anywhere we like. So I'm thinking in between there, maybe something here in between the rocks and the wood. Maybe somewhere in this little gap over here as well. Yeah, we'll see. We'll just place little bits everywhere. So that basically wraps up all the plants that are going to grow immersed out of the water. Doesn't really look like much right now, but in a few weeks it's going to look super cool. Especially this HYDROCOTYLE. It's going to form like a cushion, you know, like basically a carpet with this plant. Going to cover everything. I think it's going to look great. Also put some of that Ludwigia in this corner over here. Yeah, I think next up we need moss. We need a lot of moss. And we did cloud the water with all that rumbling around in the substrate with all the ECHINODORUS, but we're going to do another water change soon. So I was testing this sort of drip system here, but I only had some Physidens moss and some Ricardia, but this stuff just doesn't really work properly immersed. So I got 5 cups of this Taiwan moss. I think this will look much better. So I'm wondering if you can just lay it on there without tying it, without gluing it, and just kind of pressing it on the wood. That would make it really easy for us. Okay, that's the moss done. So of course the majority is on this piece of wood right here. We have some more on the rock on the right side, and also a little bit on this piece of wood kind of going into the water like that. Next up, let's just drain the tank, start planting the aquatic plants, fill the tank back up, and then I have a few more things to add. Okay, so this is going to be a challenge. First of all, we have to hurry up because all the plants are now starting to dry out. Second challenge is the fact that we only have a thin layer of sand in front. So it's going to be very difficult to plant in there. So I think I'm just going to plant in between the gravel, basically the small pebbles. All right, here we go. So I want to keep this very, very minimal. So I'm only going to use two types of grasses. This is the first one. This is the HELANTHIUM TENELLUM red from TENELLUM. I don't think it will grow red in this cape because we're not going to have very bright light. But yeah, we'll see how it's going to look. Just trying to find spots where it's deep enough to plant in. Yeah, I think that's it. Very minimal. Just a few plugs here and there, just to add a little touch of green to the aquatic section. And of course it's going to grow bigger, it's going to start spreading, it's going to look very natural, I think. Let's fill the tank back up, and we still have a few more things to do. Shall we all just take a moment to appreciate how clear the water is? I mean, it's still not 100% clear, but this is the clearest it's been since the day I filled it up. That looks really good. So we could call it a day. I mean, I'm quite happy with how it's looking so far, but I want to spice it up a little bit more. So for the top section, the immersed section, I have two houseplants that I want to try out. And for the aquatic section, I'm thinking to add some botanicals. Some leaf litter, some twigs, just to make it a bit more natural. Right now we have a very white sand, it's very in your face. I think we have to make it a bit more natural. So I bought some houseplants a few days ago, and I first bought these two. But I think they're quite big and they will just look out of place there, you know. But then I also found this one. This is a really cute small fern. I think ferns do really well in this kind of setup, you know. And I was looking for Ficus pumila, I think it's called, the creeping fig. Couldn't find it. And this sort of looks similar, so yeah, I don't know, no idea if this will work, but I think we should just try it out. I feel like that was exactly what we needed here on the immersed section. So this little fern and that other plant just really made it look more natural, just took it to another level, you know? Especially this small leafed plant mixed in with the moss. Just looks very, very natural in my opinion. Also added a little bit on this side. Yeah, I like it, it looks cool. Okay, so since this aquascape is all about trying new things and experimenting, I want to try one more thing with the substrate. Because right now we have very clean white sand. In a way it looks really good, I quite like it. But it's not necessarily very natural, you know? So we can make it a bit more natural with this new product from Rio. This is called Biotope Bed's mulch bed. It's basically just mulch in a bag. Now, mulch is just small leaves, small twigs, small pieces of bark. So we can, yeah, scatter this around the sand and see if it looks good. I'm not sure, but I think we should just give it a try. And if it doesn't work out, we can just remove it, you know? Beautiful people, welcome back. It's a new day. Hardscape is done, planting is done. I think it's a wrap. I think we still need fish, but it's going to be another episode. Let's take a look at the end result. So the last thing I did yesterday was adding that mulch, so the twigs. I've also shredded some catappa leaves, added a few more of those tiny rocks. And also two types of floating plants, so the redwood floaters, the Phyllanthus fluoritans, and also the Amazon frogbit. You know what I think is actually my favorite thing about this whole scape? Is this little passage that we've created between this big rock and behind the wood. This little passage that the fish can like swim through and around. Yeah, actually there's a lot of like different layers that you might not really be able to see on camera because we have so much shadow. Because it looks like there's only a little bit of swimming space in the front, but behind it there's actually a lot of space left still, but yeah, it's hard to see. They can also still go all the way in the back, you know, like they still have access to this area here as well. So they can basically swim this way, all the way here, all the way around, and also still in the back, you know, like they can literally swim here as well. And that's, yeah, something you don't really see with traditional aquascapes, I guess. But with the shallow tank, with this style of layout, you can. So that's pretty cool, I think. So the only thing left to do now is to make a final decision on the fish that's gonna go in here. I think I'm already quite there. I already have a pretty good idea about what I want, but I'm still open to suggestions. So if you guys have some nice suggestions for the shallow, let me know in the comments. It's now Friday. I'm gonna have this video up in a few hours, and then I'll do my best to make sure that next week Friday's video is gonna be about the fish. So that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done this yet. See you next time. Take care.